just to give everybody a little bit of context, it seems like with all the excitement about changes in Washington, D.C., it's putting, pressure on interest rates in several different fronts. It seems like Trump's threatening or intention to do tariffs is seen as inflationary. Number two, there's concerns with wage inflation if a lot of our workforce gets deported. And thirdly, is if the economy becomes more brisk, that's inflationary as well. I don't know, Frank, if you see the same, if you get the same tea leaves that I'm getting, but maybe you can, talk about that, because I think the 5-year Treasury is north of 5 solidly, right?
But yeah, the 10 year is actually at 458, which has gone up considerably in the last couple of weeks. But it's interesting because everything you just said is kind of spooking the market a little bit. But a lot of things that I've been hearing through some of my investors are 2025 is poised to be a great year for real estate. Inventory is rising. Interest rates they're kind of stable. They've been up and down, but they've been running sideways lately. So Feds are going to be cutting rates again, not as much as they thought they were, but who knows? We don't really know. We'll have to wait till the next Fed meeting. But right now, last year they were talking about a 4-cut rate, but I think we're more like a two cut rate this year. But we'll see. But right now, I mean, interest rates are still in the upper sixes, some are in the low sevens. But the loan limit, the conforming loan limits were raised. The conforming loan limit was raised to 806,500, and the FHA limit was raised to 524,000, which is good because those are the higher the loan limits, they could take advantage of whatever the conforming loan rates are. So anything above those limits, they are subject to higher rates. So every year they come out with increasing the loan limits. So our average loan amount that I'm running in Florida is about 406,000. So it's good that we could take advantage of these low rates and run off to a good year. So right now it's a new year. Let's see how things go. But we're talking, everybody that I talk to seems like this is going to be a great year for the real estate market. With the rates going sideways a little bit, 10 years at 458 this morning. Rates haven't really changed much. They go up and down 0.25% each week. But let's just take advantage of low rates, inventory, and let's see how the new year starts out. So I wish everybody a very successful 2025.
And fantastic. And in terms of Frank, real quickly, in terms of like lender creativity and qualifications, I don't know, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Are you seeing lenders get more creative to create demand? Because I know the new application number was down like 22% for the last 2 weeks of December, and
Yeah.
the finances were down like 70%.
Yeah, because of the spike in interest rates, that always takes a negative effect. But let's see how it goes. But lender creativity. I have actually another lender that just jumped on board for FHA loans. They're going down to a 500 credit score. So I know the loan limits or the credit score limit for FHA is normally 620 or 580. But I have actually a couple investors now that are going down to 500s. So running a low credit score like that, it's funny because you think that people with that low credit score won't get approved. I've actually had 2 loans that I've closed that were sub, 550 on FHA loans. So creativity is there. The DSCR programs where we qualify the property and not the individual for investment properties, they're making a strong run for this year. So a lot of good programs that are out there. So just talk to us. When we talk to the clients, we look at all different options and see what program they qualify and give them the option and let them make a decision. So there's a lot of good things that are coming out. Some of my investors are offering price incentives, giving up 60 basis points to buy the rate down a little bit. So there's a lot of things that are coming out that have just come out in the last couple of weeks. So looking forward to this year.
And some of the commentary I had read and seen were talking about how builders have an advantage with their ability to buy rates down and manipulate that. Has there been any talk on the like the brokerage community, or maybe we could I see some people who've been in the business for a long time, and I remember when we used to do buy downs
Yeah.
to make properties more attractive. Can you comment on if you've seen builders um,
So,
using interest rates to manipulate demand? And if so, is there any way that we can do that to prop up buyer demand if needed?
So one bank that I deal with, they're offering they have a buy down program, but it buys the interest rates down temporarily. I know in speaking to some of the agents in Florida, there's builders that are out there that are buying money cheap, and they're offering rates, like 4.99 for a 30-year fixed period, which is great. I don't Right now what we're seeing is the buy downs, but those are temporary buy downs for the first maybe 1 or 2 or 3 years. But long term, they're working on it. I haven't seen anything that are going to be fixed for a 30-year period, but I know there are some builders out there that are offering, some programs that are fixed for the duration of the 30 years.
In Arizona or Florida, do you have a lot of builder influence for rates manipulation?
I can
Yes, we
speak
do.
to Tucson, yeah.
We do have a lot of builders offering better rates than most conventional loan officers
Right.
or lenders.
Yeah, I'm seeing that too. Quite a few, especially a lot of new builders. I know Lennar is an established builder. They also own a bank, and they're offering reduced rates too, I think in the fours. But
GL as
I
well.
saw a new builder in Orlando is at 4.58, fixed
Yeah.
for 30 years. So yeah, I'm seeing a lot of that.
Yep.
And Frank, how many points would it take to get something like that on the retail level?
Well, you'll blow high costs. You won't be able to do that, but it could be 4 points, but you won't get the loan approved because, you would fail high costs. So, yeah, I know some of them, I just saw one of the comments in here says Lennar was offering like 3.85% for 30 years. So, builders are taking advantage of this. They're buying the rates out cheap, and, they have their own money, so they can do whatever they want. They're a portfolio lender.
As an aside, I also saw that Lennar posted something that they're not paying buyer's agents.
Has anybody seen that?
Well, they did
Arizona
get,
has it, but it's negotiable.
it's negotiable, yeah. I mean,
I just got paid off of Lennar.
Well, all is not perfect. But what I would say to everybody is, if it was easy, we wouldn't have a job. Okay, if it was easy, we wouldn't have a job. In terms of resolutions, I think, Robert, you sent me something that is it January 10th is the date that most people break their resolutions?
Yes, it's got a title of Quitter's Day.
Quitter's
Day.
Day, yeah.
So in terms of resolution, just by way of hands, people who are on the screen, who has resolutions for this year? Two? Is that only two of us? Howard, you and I, buddy. Robert, do you have one or no?
No,
Okay, so it's only two of us. I'm looking at it as not just, I'm gonna lose weight or I'm gonna, work out. And it occurs to me every New Year's. Does anybody recall like what's the biggest advertiser for the New Year's Eve event? Come on, somebody must have watched New Year's Eve.
Planet Fitness.
Yes, they have those goofy hats, Planet Fitness, right? And they have a special $15, I think it says, to run through your credit card for a recurring charge, because they probably know most people say, hey, I'll pay the $15 and then it's not a big deal not to show up. I think there's a lot of psychology behind that. But turning it to a positive side in terms of New Year's resolution, if we can maybe build in some disciplines into our business and maybe become a little bit more of a professional salesperson. And I'm going to borrow some Mike Ferry isms here, where salesperson is not a bad thing. I know sometimes agents go around and say, I want to be a consultant or an advisor. And I think we need to think of ourselves as professional elite salespeople, because that helps define the activities that we do. And I'm looking at Alex shaking his head. He's almost on the middle of my Hollywood squares here, but our business, a lot of us have great networks, which is going to give us a certain yield. But I think that having better habits is going to provide a better lift for us, a better consistency for us going into the new year. And I'll go on record every year, every day saying that the market's not going to control my income. Okay, it may control yours, but it's not going to control mine. What's going to control my income is the activities that I take or the activities I fail to take. And the time blocking I do, or the lack of discipline to time blocking that I fail to do, will be the main influences on my business and your business. So I don't know, Alex, do you want to take a minute to talk about Path to Platinum?
Yeah, no, I think you covered the biggest piece, which is like, how do we break bad habits? Or how do we hit our goals? We got to remove some of the bad habits of our life. And the only way to do that is replace them with good habits. And, having the grace to understand that just because it didn't start off the way you hoped it did, or challenges along the way, you need to celebrate and create a reward system that helps encourage you through the process of creating good habits. And, I love the Path to Platinum program idea, because it's not just a session where your ears are going to get tickled and you're going to get inspired for 15 minutes and then you're going to get back to your routine again. The program is designed to help create a new routine. And so when we're replacing some of the bad habits in our life, we're replacing them with good habits. And what we go through in the course is we're going to go through positive time management skills. What do top producers do on a daily basis? And so as we take some of the stuff from 2024 out of our lives and replace it with 2025, we're replacing it with activities that are going to help us achieve our goals. And that's financially, physically, and also with the relationships that are the most important to us, which is our family. So if that sounds good to you and you haven't registered yet, you might want to do that. We're actually closing in at 80 people. And I think when I mentioned this to Rob, I said, hey, we should do this program. It'd be great to have like 40 people. Now we've doubled it. So it just shows that there is a desire for people to get better. And don't use don't use busyness as an excuse to be lazy. I've heard from a couple of people that they've got lots on the go and they're not sure if they can make it happen. And I think that this is something that just reinforces what you're already doing. Don't think that you're going to have this huge amount of workload that's going to be outside of what is expected in your business. It's an hour and a half at a time on a Monday or a Wednesday. And it's going to set your mind at ease, and it's going to give you the path that you need to move forward throughout the weeks. And as we go through each week, it's going to get hard in the beginning, but then it's going to get easier towards the end. And then eventually at the end of the sessions, you will find that, a lot of these habits are now established and you can just keep cruising into the year with some positive changes. So if you have any questions, reach out. For those that are asking where the updates are, we're actually just finalizing our numbers by 12 o'clock today. We're going to call it Pacific time because that's what I'm in right now. That's going to be the final time. So if you are on the fence, you have to make that decision because we're setting the teams today. once we set the teams, emails are going to start to go out. I can tell you all right now that are on the call who are in the program, it will be 12 p.m. Eastern time on Monday and Wednesdays, and Fridays with your team leaders. They're going to be different times, but they should be consistent as well. So if you're wondering where the communication is, it's coming today, but we need our final numbers so we can divvy up the groups properly. And it's amazing how many people, Rob, that came that were, I think we were having around 60 or 50 last week, and then all of a sudden now we have 80. so it's just typical of us humans that we're always last minute. But happy to have you, even if you come in the last minute of the deadline. But we need to get organized, and so once we get our teams together, emails will be hitting the inboxes. So stay tuned for that. Starting Monday.
And
Can I add something?
Oh, of course.
I always believe that busy people make time and make things happen. That's part of being busy. There's a difference between a person that's focused and busy and a person that's busy with just what they think they're busy with. If I trying to make it clear. Like, not being consistent. If you have a plan and you follow a plan and you follow a schedule, it's going to be a lot easier for you to do the things you need to do to be productive. So I don't, if you take, a couple of days and write down what you do each day, you're going to find that there's lots of hours that you weren't busy.
Yeah, and there's also working in your business and on your business. And a lot of people get so tunnel vision focusing on, oh, I got to do my listing appointment today, or I have an inspection today. But they're constantly in this rat race and they're not getting to the next level. It's because they're not working on their business. And this is the type of activity that's going to set you up for success, not only to get more business, but also to manage your business better.
Janine, did you intend to want to present something? Janine? Maybe that's not.
I'd like to add something, Rob, if I can. I've been through this training through 2 or 3 sessions of Sweat Hogs. I know the results, and the end result is really very positive. It's something which works and works effectively, done right.
It's awesome. A stat, we actually had our team leader meeting yesterday, and if there's anybody that wants to be a team leader in this program that has taken it before, we could really use your help because we have more numbers than we expected, but we're going to make it work either way. But one of the things that we talked about, I had my coach who's going to help with the program. He was the one that trained me when I first got into the business, originally a Sweat Hogs coach. And Doug said that on average, he sees the production of the brokerage from 25 to 35% go up during this course. So this is something that's not on trial. It's obviously what is on trial is the effort we put into it, but if you're excited to be around an environment that's going to be encouraging, obviously skill-based, and get to work type of environment, then this is definitely going to be the right fit for you. If you don't want to work and you don't want to stick to a schedule, probably not the right fit for you.
So I'm just gonna lean into Abe. Abe, how much time do you spend calling now?
A lot, an awful lot, but I find that all the calls I'm making, I'm starting to get callbacks, which is beautiful. I would say at least 4 hours, 4 to 5 hours a day. Not constantly, but in between, I'm constantly calling.
And how many appointments are you setting up per week on average?
Well, 3 to 4 minimum.
So Abe is in our Palm Beach Gardens office setting up appointments to grow our team. And he's inspirational to me with the tenacity and the discipline he has to do those recruiting activities. And Abe, you can share with the group, how do you get attention?
You know what? If, you know, there's an old adage, if at first you don't succeed, try again. And it seems to work very effectively.
And you remember I told you about the squeaky wheel, right?
Right,
I'm very polite
squeaky
about
needs,
that to get.
needs to be oiled constantly.
So, I think for many of us, I see on these calls, our team leaders, your team watches what we're doing or what we're not doing, and that sets the pace, right? It's like
Right,
it's like a race in the Olympics. There's somebody that is running and setting the pace for the whole entire race. And when you run a team, that's the team leader that's doing those particular, activities.
I like to, I like to piggyback off of something that Colleen said. Those who fail to plan to fail. So like I said, you set a plan, you stick to it, and you'll see the results. And sometimes you just got to change course a little bit, but you stick with your plan.
Right. And talking about, income being insulated from market fluctuations, because I'm looking here on this front screen here, I don't see anybody that's been probably with the company for less than 5 years, never mind been with the business for less than 5 years. And our 2025 is not going to be dependent upon whether the Fed does 0 or 4 to 6 rate cuts, is it? I choose not. What it is going to be dependent upon is, what prospecting activities that we do, okay, that get us that marginal amount of business. It also depends on, the scripted conversations that we're prepared to have with our sphere, our prospects. Okay. There's probably more uncertainty in the marketplace, now than we thought after the election. Who thought after the election we'd have an easy ride? It would be, all right, that objection's over. Now people are going to start buying. Are you seeing that, Fran?
We're seeing still in our area, like the low inventory, so that's made it difficult for some people to buy, taking people further out. But I did also feel that once the election was over and the change of the administration, that maybe we would start seeing some improvement, but I haven't really seen too much improvement yet.
Right. So in Fran's instance, what we need sellers to feel comfortable putting their homes on the market to start the whole process going. And in other markets, it might be, a little bit more buyer driven to have the recovery. But what that just highlights is that if we're going to be dependent upon our expectations to drive our income, this is going to be a very, very, very stressful 2025 and a very stressful career. But if you're doing the prospecting activities and you're willing to hold yourself accountable, I know we could talk about Glenn Baker because he texted me and saying he wasn't going to be on today. But Glenn has a TV screen with all of his aggregated activities that the team is doing. Okay, and it measures the amount of contacts, the amount of answers, the amount of calls, the amount of appointments, the amount of contracts, and the amount of closings. There's, I think, 6 or 7 circles through Sisu that he puts up there. That may be a little bit of overkill, but I think putting ourselves out there and looking at, to give you a parallel to if you wanted to improve your physical health, looking at how many steps you take, how many days you go and exercise, what your diet's like, right? To measure those things going to determine the outcome for your health. Okay.
Could I add something to the conversation?
Absolutely.
Something that you were just talking about a second ago, alluding to, yeah, we've had a change in the White House, which hasn't happened yet. We still have a president-elect. We don't have a new president in the White House. Secondly, as we saw, you can destroy an economy in a week. It takes a lot longer to fix it.
Um, Jeff,
And I think we witnessed it.
well, I think that there's a lot of friction in our business, right? But I think it would be foolish to expect that on January 21st, that whatever side of the aisle you're on, that you think things are going to be a lot smoother. I mean, it's nice if they were, and it's always good to be prepared for a little bit more abundance. But I don't want to I don't want to bet your income or my income on hoping that things turn out well or hoping that they change. Um, Alex, what are the pillars for prospecting that you're going to be going over in the path to platinum?
It's obviously we talk about when a market changes, we always say the line, we got to get back to the basics. And our sphere of influences can typically generate anywhere from 7 to 12 transactions per year. So if that's all you want to do, and that's normally in a decent market, then just stick with your sphere of influence. But if you want to expand outside of that and you're looking to get clients and increase your sphere of influence, we're going to go through activities on how to put yourself out there. And a lot of it is, again, stuff that you've probably heard before, but we're going to teach you on the strategies, on how to break the ice with some of these new people. And so when we go to networking meetings or we do fundraisers or for prospecting, like the good old fashioned open house door knocking campaign before you do your open houses, different strategies on putting ourselves out there. But really, we're going to give you the tools you need when you get there. And if you're confident and you have rehearsed and you've practiced, it goes a lot smoother than just trying to do it off the cuff. And I feel like many of us are so we get focused on one or two things, and we don't make the changes when the market starts telling us it's not working. And so we're going to go through a bunch of different scenarios, and it's not expected you do all of them, but definitely find the ones that are working, and we're going to share on that and share our successes along the way.
Is there does the word professional salesperson resonate with anybody?
Yeah.
Well, I think that's what we are, professionals.
What does that what does that mean to you? I don't know who just chimed in. What does that mean to you?
For me, it's offering the best service and explaining, processes, offering services that are beyond more than they're beyond they're within my knowledge, which I should know. Referring a professional, like a couple of good lenders, a good inspector, being able to communicate on the process, with title, with anyone, I don't know.
So if I can make a contribution based upon what you're saying, and my contribution is a professional salesperson is all of those things that you described. But in my opinion, they're also somebody who has habits of going out there and generating new business, which is something that sometimes we get complacent with. And sometimes we're a victim of our own success, because if things are coming in, right, and we're not starving for a transaction, we maybe focus on taking care of the clients a little bit more than we focus on generating new activity and new business. And does anybody know what the Pareto principle is? Because I think everybody really needs to understand this concept. Come on, somebody must know what this is without Googling. Don't Google it, please.
Okay.
Howard, do you know what it is, right? The Pareto principle?
No, I don't.
So the Pareto principle is the principle that says work expands to the amount of time that's allotted to it.
Okay. That one.
So in other words, if we are allowed, if we're working and we have a transaction we're working on, subconsciously we're going to expand the amount of the work to fill the amount of time that we have allotted to it. Does that make sense to anybody, or is that ridiculous to somebody? Like, give me your thoughts on that.
I think it's a true statement.
So Abe says it's a true statement. Anybody else have an opinion on that?
It makes a lot of sense to me. I feel we get complacent, and if we look at our profession as a profession, you always need to grow, and in growing, we need to facilitate our business and have a constant supply of more business. Yeah, you always say if you do the same thing, you're going to get the same results. You have to grow. You have to stretch. You have to apply yourself. And going back to professional, I think a professional person is one that's always learning and growing their business and always learning how to gain more activity. I think habit is really important. And I think as we go into the new year, we have a tremendous opportunity because if you look at the negativism out there, it's really an advantage for us. Those who stay positive and focus on what they need to do will be very successful. You'll have less competition. You'll have more opportunity. There's always people buying and selling. I worked when interest rates were 18% in Florida.
Me too.
You think 6.5 or 7 is high,
So,
right, Abe?
so,
We go ahead. We did it when it was impossible.
When I first came into the business, that's what I was dealing with. And you know what? You learn to conquer it all and go forward. Those who complain will complain on any situation. So you got to remember.
So, I mean, I think Colleen and Abe, you're exemplifying the fact that you didn't allow external circumstances impair your career. And I'm sure there are many that you coached, or maybe even you were in production then, and you excelled during those time periods when everybody was fearful. In terms of, just kind of closing the circle on this concept, the Pareto principle. Did anybody ever plan a vacation and the day before you go away, you've had one of the most productive days ever?
Yes.
Always.
Right.
Always.
Clients started calling too.
I mean, that's the inverse of the Pareto principle, because you don't have enough time to get the work done, or maybe it is the Pareto principle working in a positive way, because you want to get everything put together so that you can enjoy your trip. Right. And those are some of the most productive times that you have. What if you're able to operate closer to that level all the time? Right? Would that not change how productive you are? And in my opinion, Erica Howard, I don't know if you could grab that quote for me, Alex. I liked it. But if you were to adopt that principle and utilize that mentality more often, it's going to change your business. And if there's one thing that I want everybody to take away from today is, professional salespeople build in prospecting time.
100%.
Excellent salespeople do all the things that we talked about taking care of the client. But professional salespeople have that additional component, that additional element that gives them the consistency of prospecting to the level they want to produce at. Did somebody have a question or a comment?
I have a comment. I'm getting a lot of people messaging me on the chat, Rob, just about where the link is. So for some people, unfortunately, when we did the blast through the Remax Select Group email, there's some people that don't open up that email very often. That's actually assigned to the office. So if that's you and you haven't seen the emails yet, check there. If you didn't get it and you're checking your emails, it might be in your spam box, because it did go out as a mass message. We also texted it out too. We've got a few more people joining today. So if you didn't get it and you've checked all of those areas, then shoot me an email. My email is alexburns at goselectgroup.com, and I will get the link over to you right away.
So, professional salespeople, build in prospecting activities on top of everything else. So, there's always the detractor who says, oh, so-and-so is killing it because they have kids in the school district or whatnot. And I know we've all heard those people. Hopefully it's not been us that make those comments, right? Or so-and-so's spouse is a surgeon, or so-and-so's partner is something else that can influence business, is a divorce attorney, right? So-and-so's spouse is a divorce attorney. We had that yesterday, Abe, right?
Right.
And what was the sales volume that individual did?
Well, she did in 1 month. She did close to $2 million.
That was a year, not a month, right?
Yeah.
So she did $2 million for a year, barely meeting the threshold for us to, have a conversation with her. But she was like, you met her in a parking lot. Is that for real?
No, I met her in the parking lot. I started to talk to her. In fact, this morning, I play golf on Friday mornings. So I played golf, and it was a new guy. I said, what do you do? He says, I'm in real estate. I said, yeah, let's talk. He said, I want to talk to you before you finish. I got 3 other people from him.
So you met somebody playing golf, and this woman was a licensed professional attorney, okay, making well into the 6 figures, if not, 2 or 3 in front of the 6 figures, but she was unenthused with the business, and she wanted to see if we can give her a structure to have a significant 6-figure income to get out of being a divorce attorney. And being that she was a divorce attorney, her spouse is a divorce attorney, doing real estate part-time was not a recipe for success. Okay, she needs to be surrounded by growth-oriented people that teach her good habits, okay, and teach her good skills to grow the business.
I think she'll do very well in our business. She's got the personality, and she's got the drive to do it effectively with the right people in back of her.
Okay, and Abe, I'm gonna put this out there. She's probably gonna be paying the brokerage 3 times what she pays her current brokerage, but she can never, she will not get where she wants to be without leadership where her current brokerage is discount brokerage. So I think you did an excellent job, Abe, of identifying how, being part of a bigger brand and surrounding yourself by people will help her with her career. So professional salespeople build in prospecting. They don't just do a great job at delivering the sales process. Okay. Professional salespeople take pride and they practice their scripts and their dialogues, and they know exactly what to say in every circumstance. Is there anybody that hasn't got you that you hate to hear when you go on a buyer or seller appointment? You can be honest.
The question was, anybody that's hated you when you met them?
No, not hated you. Is there anybody that, so for example, I find this a lot of times, Alex, when somebody goes on a listing or a buyer appointment where it's like 3 to 5x their normal transaction size. So if somebody's doing business in the 5 to 800 and they go on a $3 million listing appointment, okay, they have demons in their head and they almost self-sabotage the transaction if they haven't processed and understand exactly what they're going to say and where they're going to do it.
Right.
Okay. I see Bobby Gold in there, who's Mr. Woodbridge. Bobby, are you able to talk?
Yeah, but I'm not gonna lie, Rob. I still, honestly speaking, I don't know if I understand your question.
I didn't put a question out yet, so I'll ask it to you now. So, Bobby, if you were to get a referral in Mendham for a $2 million listing or a $4 million listing, would you have any anxiety or uncertainty about that? And I just wanted like an honest answer, or what would be your concerns with the level of experience and success you've had?
My honest answer is I'd be very nervous because that's not my neck of the woods.
Right. Could you understand the market by doing some research, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel that I could, but I would also, the way I would handle it is I would sit in front of the client and, there'd be a reason why I'm going to Mendham. It's either a referral or something crossed my paths. And I would sit down there and I would be honest with them. And I'd say, I've never sold a house in Mendham. I know how to sell properties throughout the state. If you're not comfortable with my presentation and the services that I have, I could refer you to an agent, a RE/MAX agent in the area that may have a little bit more knowledge about, a lot more knowledge about Mendham that I don't have.
You gotta research.
You get, okay,
Research.
I would not lose that listing. I
Me
would
either.
just call Beth, okay, in my office. I'll get a couple of agents together, brainstorm it, and then present it. Because
Exactly.
I'm not letting go of that listing.
I mean,
Absolutely not.
and Bobby, there's not a right answer, but I would encourage you to, say, not mislead anybody to say that you're the expert of Mendham, but maybe have some discussion points and processes about how to handle that, because sometimes that doesn't come up. And if it does come up, then you can be prepared to address it. And again, there's no right or wrong answer, but it's about having a thought out process so that there's no gotchas. Okay. I mean, I'm sure, Alex, there's probably some geography that's out of your comfort zone.
Well,
Gary, if you
you
go
got
the
to
other
find out
side.
how it's gonna work. Like there's places where I live. I'm on Vancouver Island, which is like a really large island. It's 12 hours from top to bottom for those that haven't been there. But there's markets that are outside of my main city. And although I'm not the expert for that area, I know where the buyers are coming from, and they're coming from my city or they're coming from Vancouver. And so I would portray that as valuable, that I have a closer interaction to who might be actually buying a house of that size. So you just try to find what works. And I'm a big fan of involving other colleagues in areas like something that gets me nervous is land assemblies and like large development long-term situations. There's lots of things that can go wrong with that type of a deal. And so I would reach out to a professional and establish a relationship where you can go to that person from time to time with questions, and then they get a piece of the deal, and you would co-list it and learn from a pro by giving him an opportunity to make a commission. So
Alex, I want to go a little bit deeper on Bobby's comment. And Bobby, I don't know, are you able to speak for another 90 seconds?
Sure.
So I would say in your hierarchy, how important is integrity in your business?
My answer is it's very high on a scale of 1 to 10. It's got to be a 9 or a 10.
Right. I would say it's probably an 11, knowing you, right?
Yeah.
And I think that your quest to be transparent, might put forth things that aren't objections to somebody. I don't know if that makes any sense or not, because you would want to say, I didn't mislead them, letting them think I was an expert in Mendham. And, maybe there's a difference between misleading them and being confident. And if they ask you, say, to be honest with you, I haven't sold anything in Mendham, but I can explain to you the process and how I've approached, putting your home on the market. And
Very
it's,
accurate.
again, it's not to be critical. It's just to maybe expand, your thought process. Because I know, if you had to lie for a listing, you would starve. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And I think that that's part of the anchor that helps us have more confidence in what we do. But, to Anna's point, you might find somebody else, and you're going to aggressively go after that without being, misleading or dishonest. And that goes back to, preparing, scripting, understanding how we're going to address processes, right? I mean, I see Jeff with your, you look like Mr. Wilson on the fence there, the way you have the camera tilted, but you are in a unique situation where you go all over the state, if not, do you ever even go out of Florida or no with your specialty? And you're on mute, Jeff.
The only time I go out of state is through possible referrals or something. If I have a client that's looking for an air park up in Georgia, North Carolina, yada, yada, I'll reach out and try and find someone through my network to refer them to. But I do go all the way up to the border.
And some of them are not even covered in the MLS, right? That you're a native member to?
That's correct. A lot of them, the way I find them is through just other folks. Let me know about them, but there's about 3 or 4 websites that I go to that list these type of properties, as well as a lot of apps that I find them through.
Right. So you're in the aviation enthusiast lifestyle business, right?
That's correct.
And just another question: Do many of your air park clients are they not pilots, or is the majority of them pilots?
Probably 95% are pilots, the folks I deal with. As far as the air park portion, I'm kind of a purist. I try and keep pilots in air parks and not sell air park properties to non-pilots. There's always the folks that are everything from antique car collectors that don't want a big hangar, they want a big garage, and it really doesn't do the air park justice.
Right. So you know your tribe and you're passionate about it, and geography is not an obstacle, especially since when I guess when you're you could fly into them as well. But Jeff, thank you, for sharing that. So, professional salespeople aren't intimidated by the got you questions, and they know exactly what they're going to do. And that's something I think that will serve you well. And then the last thing I just want to put on the tape here, put on the record is, people like us, like everybody on this call that's spending their Friday improving themselves. Okay. You're doing it because, you have a financial interest. Okay. You want to provide for yourself and your family. However, I'm going to one up everybody here and borrow a quote from Chet Holmes from The Ultimate Sales Machine. And he probably borrowed the quote from somebody when he wrote it, which is, if you take the time and you become a professional salesperson, you have a moral obligation to help as many people as you can. Okay. If you take the time and you are the best of the best, not only do you have a financial incentive, but you have a moral obligation to help as many people as you can. What do you think about that? I want to maybe just ask Gary, what do you think about that one? Gary Greenacre. You're on mute. Gary?
Oh, there we are. Hey, sorry about that, Rob. I actually was texting with an agent that's got a deal blowing up and supposed to close in 2 hours. So
Okay,
I missed the big question, or big part of the question there.
So the question was, when you help people become the best that they can be, and they're helping their clients, okay, they sit there in the beginning of the year and say, I have a financial model that I want to hit. So I have a financial motivation. I have a obligation maybe to myself, my family. Maybe you're helping somebody else financially. But I'm going to one up that and say that you have a moral obligation to help as many people as possible. And I just wanted to know what your thoughts were on that, since you're in a leadership position helping agents that can help a lot of buyers, sellers, renters. You're in a position to change a lot of lives.
I think it goes back to Zig Ziglar statement. You get more, you get what you want when you're helping everybody else get what they want.
Right, but what about what about what about me putting it out there that, Gary, you have, forget about, helping yourself by helping others. What about if I said you have a moral obligation to help as many people as you can because you have a talent? You can change a lot of lives. What do you think about that?
Oh, I think it's something people definitely have to consider. And from a personal standpoint, while you're doing it, you're getting the benefit out of helping everybody else out at the same time.
Right. I mean, if you were, walking down the street and somebody just, tripped and fell, or they had a heart attack and they fell to the ground, would you grab your cell phone, call 911, do everything you can to help a
Definitely.
stranger that you don't even know?
Definitely.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, that to me is second nature to everybody. But I think if you think about, all the lives that you can impact, okay, by being more disciplined, by being more structured, by being a better role model, I think it's really powerful and impactful. And I'm putting it to the level of it's not just a financial incentive, but it's a moral obligation that we have to serve the people, not only a financial obligation to whoever we hold ourselves accountable to financially. So it's a lot to think about, but the person that falls down, you would drop everything and help them, even if you're going on your way to a $4 million listing appointment in Mendham or in Scottsdale and somebody needed your help. I think that you would say, you know what? I know I want to be on time here, but this person needs help. I got to stop everything I'm doing. And I'm trying to make that same connection to your ability to help as many people as possible.
Rob,
And
I was just gonna say I'm a new agent, literally got six months under my belt. And each of the few deals that I've already had, I preface each conversation with I am a new agent. So, and I do this with my clients as well as other agents. I've just let them know that I am new. If I say something or do something that you are not used to, please forgive my ignorance. I'm here to learn. And I've let everybody know that up front and have the overwhelming support that I've got from other agents that have just thanked me for being honest with them. I've heard from a few agents that they were surprised that I led with that, but they would say you would be amazed at how many times you're going to get in this field. You're going to deal with somebody that may think that they know everything when they don't. And for you to just preface that, it's already helped me. So
Todd, have you had a difficult transaction that you were able to successfully complete?
yeah, just this morning. Yes, before this call, which is why I was a few minutes late getting on.
And let me ask you, a couple of years from now, do you think you will remember the people involved, or will you be looking to see how much of that money is left in your bank account?
Well, it's not going to be a large amount of money, but I am going to remember what the help that I received. Yes, that part I will remember. It's stuck out with me because I've it's been brought to my attention with each person that I tell that to, that they are thankful for me leading with that, which I'm kind of surprised that if somebody was new, why they wouldn't let other people that we're all professionals. Everybody was new at some point. So it's just been very, very great. Abe has been remarkable in helping me with my transition.
Fantastic. Well, Abe, kudos again. This is the Abe show today here.
I don't want it to be a shot. I'm learning from everybody else. Believe me, listening to other people speak, you learn.
But I can tell you that money comes and goes, but the people you help is lasting memories and inspiration. And I think for most of us, we may say that we're completely motivated by, a certain milestone in the business. But I think when you truly help somebody through a very difficult transaction, it can't help but impact you. okay? And, you know, if you don't have the discipline, okay, and the structure, you're going to have people like that you're going to deny having the ability to help. And I think you have a moral obligation. It's a moral shortcoming if you don't find a way to be, you know, very reasonably disciplined to help as many people as you possibly can. Okay. Because, you know, we have integrity, we have skills, and we also have distractions and temptations that take us away from being everything that we can be. You know, if you're to be honest, right, and you were to look at other people in the industry who perhaps have less skills or less integrity, and you look at them and say, how the heck does that man or woman do that amount of business? You know, they seem barely competent. Anybody ever come across counterparts or people in the
Sure,
business
they're
like that?
flying.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot
Right?
of people like that in the business. They're flying by the seat of their pants, really. I mean, they don't really know what they're doing. They're lucky enough to put a transaction together, but it's the person on the other side who does know what they're doing that helps hold it together, you know? And when you do learn, look, after 32 years in this business, I thought you would think you've pretty much seen everything, but it's a continuous learning process, and going through trying to figure it out for them, you know, is really a great experience, I think.
Well,
So
I
I'll throw up a
appreciate you.
little analogy. When I was still active with the airlines before I retired, I used to mentor new first officers coming on the line. And my comment to them, and I'd had more than 30 years experience at the time flying in jets, and that is, if you ever think that you're done learning in this job, might as well quit right now.
Mhm.
Right. That goes for practically every, Jeff, that's like every profession, right?
Absolutely. Every day on this job is a learning process. You're encountering something new, something you hadn't seen before, and so you're constantly learning. So to that young guy's point, I forget his name, but the guy that's been at
Todd.
it 6 months, he'll be learning for however long he's doing it.
Yeah, Jeff, that reminds me of and I apologize for repeating the story, but one of the fellow brokers here has been in the business for 50 or 60 years, was referring to an agent in his 70s, and she says, "Oh, Tommy, he's a good kid. The problem with Tommy is he's repeated his first year 41 times." Don't let that be you, right? And really try to find a higher motivation that will get you to do the activities that you may not want to do. Because to be honest with you, the top producers, the top 1% of 1%, we all have days, they all have days that they don't want to do the activities. They don't want to make the calls, they don't want to do the prospecting, they don't want to do the role playing, they don't want to lead their teams. But the successful people, they have those same emotions and feelings, but they just move forward and do it anyway. Okay, that's part of what being a professional is. And for me, you probably have noticed if you've been around a while that I virtually never cancel these meetings because it's important to me, because this is my opportunity to try to help, a large group of people that I care about have a breakthrough in their business. Okay. I mean, it would be very easy to take some Fridays off, but there's no holidays for leadership, right?
One thing,
No
Brian,
holidays for caring. Go ahead.
I like to add one thing. Brian Buffini says one thing. Since he's a nice Italian boy, he says, "Ancora imparo." I'm still learning. So just remember that. Here's a guy who's been out there for years. I'm still learning.
I'll piggyback on that one, Abe. I actually have that tattooed because that was one of the best things I think I've ever heard in my life. My dad's told me that since a kid. Yet you are learning no matter what.
What's the
Thanks,
tattoo?
Wilton.
I have on my wrist Ancora imparo tattooed.
Okay.
I'm still learning. I'm still learning.
Very good. On your other arm, it's going to say, "Make your calls."
My other one's gonna say, call Rob.
Don't call me, make your calls. But all kidding aside, so I'm going to stay on for a minute. There's the link in the chat if anybody wants to register and doesn't have that. And you know, if you have any concerns about the market not supporting your business goal, okay, you have to do the path to platinum, where you have to do something dramatic, because the market should never ever control how many people you help and what the outcome is for your business. I say that from the bottom of my heart, being in the business for many years in different roles, that you know what controls the outcome of your business is the actions and inactions and the mindset and the learning that Jeff pointed out, and the scripting and the process of being comfortable having those conversations. It takes a very talented, committed individual to recruit people from a parking lot and saying, "You look like a real estate agent. Why don't you come in for a meeting?" Okay, that takes initiative. That takes courage. It may not sound like it takes courage, but you know what? Abe is always on. He smells and he sees, and he's committed to helping people have breakthroughs coming to Remax. Alex is programmed to share with you what his experience has been, how he's been able to help people change their lives, right? Alex could probably make a heck of a lot more money selling $4 million houses on Vancouver Island, but after 18 years, 19 years, Alex?
Yeah, this is my 19th in February as a realtor, 2 years as a licensed admin before I was a realtor.
So close to 20 years or over 20 years of being in the business. And, part of it is, you want to give back, you want to make a contribution. You want to, 2 years from now, meet somebody at R4 at one of our offices and have them say that, that was one of the things that allowed me to have a breakthrough or change my life.
It's good.
Okay. And I'm not saying, and I'm going to say this, and this will be my last thing, and I'll stay on if you have any other questions, but for those of you from New Jersey, before COVID, we had an annual award ceremony down in Atlantic City for the Remax New Jersey broker owners. And it was 4 years in a row that the Rookie of the Year came out of our company. Okay, and they were right under, they were right in the proximity with me here, where I would go over to them when people used to actually come into the office and check in with them, see what they're doing, encourage them, push them, right? And that was not a setup, and it was not an accident. Okay, it was like that 4-minute mile. Once the 4-minute mile was broken, everybody realized that it was possible and it was easy to do. Okay, you all have people, or most of you have people in your office, or almost everybody has somebody in the company that you can network with that's maybe doing some things at a higher level than you, that you can up your game to do, and that will help you both. And in real estate, most agents know what's going on. The better agents understand it, and the best of the best can teach it and explain it. Okay, so in some way, Alex helping everybody by teaching is actually going to help elevate his game as well, and that's how the universe works. So if you have any questions or comments, we're finished here, but if you can, I'll stay on and take any comments, and please, take that link out of the chat if you need it to register. And the last warning is, if you register, please commit to doing it. We are not, there is a penalty for not completing it, and that's to get leverage on you to do it. So I'll tell you, don't register unless you're 200% committed that you're going to do it, because so Alex and I and the leadership team will give you 300% of us to help you get through this and have a breakthrough in your career. So
Rob, can I add one thing? I always say to the agents, if they're going on a listing or working with a buyer, and they're a little nervous, do you feel that there was anybody that could do a better job than you? Going back to, supporting, and we're not, the reality is we don't do this for the money. This is not easy. We do it, like you say, to help people. We do it for the joy of seeing the first time buyer. We do it for the joy of making, I always say, making dreams come true. You know, we do it for that. And I truly feel that nobody can do a better job than us. And I think when you have that confidence in yourself and you think about it, you really know nobody's going to do a better job than you.
Rob, I'm willing to help anybody at any time. And anybody has any questions that I can, my years of experience, give me a call. I'm there to help you grow your business.
No. I'm gonna, unless anybody hasn't gotten the link, if you need the link, reach out to myself or your manager, and we'll get that over to you. And I really look forward to everybody having the best year ever, helping as many people as possible, despite whatever the market conditions are. All right?